Oh, hello guys. Okay, so today is September 2nd, and I am here to gain focus, to gain clarity. We are gonna finish a book, we are gonna complete a book, and this is me showing you my journey. So if you watched my first video I uploaded, that is me telling you that I need focus, and today is all about gaining that focus. It's September 2nd, and I'm decided to work on the first book of my fantasy series called Of Gods and Realms. Now, I initially planned this series to be a trilogy. It has now turned into a 6 book out of the series, and it's a part of the larger expansive world that I'm creating called Realm of the Hevelians. You might be asking yourself, girl, why have you done? What are you doing? You're doing too much. Now let me explain to you. I love me world building. I love creating lore. I love creating histories of the world, of how these characters will interact with each other. What I don't like is outlining. What I don't like is plotting. So when I get to writing, I go off on a tangent, okay? If my main character is meant to, I don't know, fall in love with one of the characters, I need to know his backstory. I need to know who hurt him in his past that made him the way he is, okay? I need to know who put that scar on his eye. So I go into a whole character backstory. Then it turns into he's getting a whole 10,000 word chapter. We don't need that. It's too much. We don't need that. So I need to just shut it down, because romance, it's not even a big part of this book. This is not a fantasy romance book I'm writing, so why do I care about who she falls in love with? It's just a little side story. So let me break down to you what Of Gods and Realms is, and let me break down to you the scope that I decided to create. So Of Gods and Realms is about a pantheon of gods. Okay, think the Hevelians is what I call my gods. Think about the Olympians and the Roman gods, or about the Orishas. Okay, think about them and how each god is a deity to a specific thing. Okay, that's what I've created. So I have got 13 core gods, but then I've also created a plethora, a sea of other gods. So far, at the last count, I think I've created 85 gods. And each of these 85 gods have their own origin stories. Now, I say this to say, the book that I'm writing now, the first book in the series, has nothing to do with the gods. It's got nothing to do with them. So why have I written their backstories? Okay, they don't matter. They're briefly mentioned. But in the world that I'm creating, it's the gods that made the world. So I had to understand them to understand the world. Now, my world, the realms part, because it's of gods and realms, there are 13 different realms. So each of the main 13 gods have created their own realm, and in each realm there's the majority of the species. Like, that is to say, you know how you have Earth, we have humans, and then Mars, you have Martians. They're not humans, they're not the same. So in my realms, we have the realm for humans, a realm for elves, a realm for witches, a realm for fey-like creatures. There's 13 of them. There's 13 different, and there's like 4 species that I created out of the top of my head. Each of these 13 realms have their own laws, okay? Have their own magic system, have their own cultural backstory, and that's everything. I keep adding to it. So me planning this out, this is why it's taken me 5 to 6 years to even get book 1 written, because every time I come up with a new idea, I have to add it to my Will Bible. And my Will Bible is so hefty. And so every time I want to add to the Will Bible, I get a new plot point, but the plot point has nothing to do with the initial story that I'm writing. So I have to think of a new side story, a new companion novel set into this new realm. It's just a mess. It's just a mess. So that's why I thought, like, me being a pantster, me just writing, new idea pops up, start writing that. It's not good. It's not making me move progress. It's not making me make any progress. But then the more I think about it, the idea of outlining, I'm not an outlier. I need to mix up both. So at the stage of my book, at the stage of me writing, I think I have written enough words that I need to outline. Okay, so let me break it down for you. Let me break it down where I'm at today. So where am I starting off? So we're gonna discuss the core book. The first book of my core novel, the one that I want to be an entryway into this series, into this expansive universe that I've made. So right now the working title is ROTP. Those are the initials because I keep changing the title, but anyway. So I was watching, I don't know if he did a TikTok or a video, I don't know, but I heard Brandon Sanderson, when he talked about his magnum opus, The Storm Night Archive, he plans each book as a series of trilogies, okay? So each book...
Once I start writing a book like Stormlight 5, what's the process like? Well, I break a Stormlight book down into usually 3 novels in my head. Why is that? These are enormous books. If you've never read one, they're 1,200, 1,300 pages long. They're 400,000 words. An average novel, Trust of the Emerald Sea, is around 100,000. So this is easily 4 times, 3 times, depending on the size of the book, the length of a regular novel. In order to get that in my head, I have to divide it into parts. And one of the ways I do that is to basically outline it as if it is 3 novels that I'm going to interweave in some way.
When you're reading it reads like you're reading book 1, book 2, book 3 of a trilogy, all contained in one book. And that got me to thinking, that's exactly what I did. And it's the same thing how you got the 3 act structure, a beginning, middle, and end. That's technically what I'm doing. So you got part 1, part 2, part 3, and they each stand alone, but they need to be read together, if you understand my meaning. So I'm gonna break it down for you. So where I'm at now, part 1 of this book currently has 22 chapters, okay, planned out, 12 of which need work. So I've written 22 chapters. I've worked on 22 of them. 10 chapters I think are at a point where I can share it with people, or at a point where I can leave it alone trying to figure out this first draft. I don't need to touch that anymore. That's 10 of them. 12 of these chapters, they have glaring plot holes. They have things that need work on. So before we jump further into it, I work on Google Docs. So when I do my drafting and I can't think of what I want a certain person to say, and I can't think of how a character is going to get from point A to point B, I will change the text color to red, put it in bold, and say, add more information, add better dialogue. How does this character get from here to here? Make it interesting, okay? So 12 of these chapters have got red text, just red text. Sometimes they're purple text because it's just, I'm trying to say, yes, I added a bit of lore, a bit of world building, a bit of character description. So if the text is blue or purple, it's not me editing, it's like, remember to add this. This is what needs to happen. But 12 of these chapters are just colourful. Have just got coloured text, means I need to add more information. So, part 1, as it stands, is currently at 63,323 words. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Tiffany, 63,000, that's a lot. That's just part 1? That's just part 1 and you're only halfway written part 1? How long is this book? Don't worry about word count. Right now, I'm not even thinking about word count. I just tallied the word count to see how much progress I've made. But I don't want to think about it because it would just stress me out. That's just part 1. Let's move on to part 2. Part 2 currently stands with 29 chapters and at 60,781 words. So you already know, my book is already over 100,000 words. And it's not even halfway done. Because in part 2, out of the 29 chapters, 7 have not been written. 7, I just have the title and I have just got 3 bullet points to tell me what's going to happen. I haven't even written it. And normally I write dialogue first because that's fun. But 7, they don't have nothing. 10 of them is colourful. 10 chapters out of part 2, it's just got notes written all up in it, okay? So out of 29 chapters of part 2, 17 need work. Then we move on to part 3. Oh! Part 3. Part 3 currently stands at 35,970 words. Part 3 consists of 21 chapters. 13 of them haven't even written. And 8 need work. So, part 3 is the one that I've done the least amount of work on. And that's because I can't write what happens in part 3 without knowing what happens in part 1. I can't finish part 3 without knowing what happens in part 1 and part 2. And that's what's making me stop, hold. Now, as I said, today is September 2nd. Yesterday, I read through my whole draft. I read through the work that I was doing, taking notes, to just refresh my mind, to refresh me on what I'm doing. Now, when I got to reading what I wrote for part 3, I got chills. I got excited because I didn't know I wrote that. And this is my problem, because I didn't outline, because I didn't write extensive notes. I forgot what I put in the book. So at a certain point, I'm just like, how did this happen? It doesn't make any sense to me, and I'm the one writing it. So that's why I have decided that my pants-thin ways needs to come to a stop. I need to begin to outline. So what I'm going to focus on this week is outlining, is plotting, is letting me know what's happening in each scene and what's missing, where my plot holes are. Okay? But before that, I need to set my goals for the month. What are my goals for this first month? Because we only have roughly 3 months left to the end of the year, or 4 months. I don't know. You do the math. But the end of the year is approaching soon, and by the end of this year, I want to say that I have finished the first draft of this book. That's what I want to. I have 3 parts. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. And 4 months left. I'm going to finish the first draft of this book. That is my goal for the rest of the year. My goal for this month, therefore, is to finish Part 1. Is to finish Part 1 and to outline the whole book as a whole. To do an outline, because I haven't done an outline for a book. That is my goal for this month. So, with all that said, let's just summarize where I'm starting in September 2024. I am starting with my clear focus of writing ROTP, Book 1 of Gods and Realms Saga. We are going to finish Part 1, which currently stands at 63,323 words. Alright, I will check in with you in my next update. I'm going to get into writing right now. Hello guys, I don't actually know when the last time I've updated you, because I was doing vlogging my September, my October, but I lost the footage. So my update, I haven't posted my September update or my October update. So we're just gonna merge where I'm at now, because as of filming this, it's about to be hit November. And November, as you are well aware, will be supposed to be National Writing Month, NaNoWriMo. Now, I have never completed a NaNoWriMo, and that's because November's my birthday month. So I take a week out just to celebrate me, okay? So I don't actually do NaNoWriMo. Instead, I do November and December, and I merge them together. So instead of writing up 5,000 words in one day, I try and do, instead of writing 50,000 words in one day, I try and say I'm going to do it from a period of November to the end of the year, okay? So that's what I'm doing here. Now, as I said, I have not got the footage of my September and October vlogging experience. So I'm just going to come to you now to let you know where I'm starting my November, okay? So this is just to wrap up my writing so far. So I believe where we ended up, I was just beginning my focus on my product, on my WIP. Now, I have actually realized that I'm kind of a genius. And if anyone's gonna gas me, it's got to be me. I got to big up myself, because I'm not actually sharing my work with anyone at the moment, so I have to gas myself to get excited. So what I have been doing is putting all my work into my Excel spreadsheet. Now, Google, Chrome, they've updated their docs, they've updated what I'm working with, because that's what I primarily use. I don't have Scrivener, I don't have the other like Notions, the other databases that writers, authors utilize to organize their work. I just use Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Excel. Sometimes I brainstorm using the free form. I'm cheap. I like the free stuff. I like things that come to me free. So I've been organizing. Now, I don't know if I can actually, I might insert a picture or something of my spreadsheet that I made. What I've done is that I've went through all of my work in progress. I've given myself my chapter headings, how many words are in each chapter, what happens to each character in that chapter, what us as the reader learns, what you as the reader learns, what the characters learn in that chapter, how the plot develops in that chapter, and what I need to write in their corresponding POV chapters that come afterwards. Certain things of this book I forgot the plot points, so it has really helped me progress the story, because there are certain plot points that I've mentioned that I forgot I put in there. So when I'm telling you that I am loving becoming a plotter right now, I love my pantser ways, don't get me wrong. I think that's the best way to begin a book for me personally, is just to write. But there comes a time where plotting is key, because there would have been so many plot holes in my book if I haven't done it. So I will overlay the image of my spreadsheet that I made. Now, if you watched my video that I put when I was done plotting out my book, I couldn't plot out. I used the power of 3 to plot my book. So that's a 3-act structure. I use everything that I use is divisible by 3. Whether it's a 3-act structure, whether it's the 3 to the power of 3, that's 27 beats. I explained it better in that video. But when I was trying to explain you to my book in that video, I didn't know how it ended. I didn't know how to wrap up the ending. I'm now at the point where I know how this book is going to end. I know where we're going to go to the end to lead on to the next series, so I'm excited for that. Okay, so I don't know if you can see what's on the screen, but hopefully you can. Okay, so this is my workbook that I've been working on. This is my character chart, not my character chart, this is my scene outline that I've been filling out. So I've got the chapter, I've got the scene, I've got the POV, what POV the chapter is in. Now the word count, this is going to be my final word count, so I haven't filled it out yet. I've got the location, what realm it is, where in that realm the scene's taking place. Characters shown, characters seen and unseen. And characters shown are the characters that are seen, the name characters. So I want to keep track of when they first appeared in the series, what they were doing. And then we have characters mentioned, again, name characters mentioned. So when I go back and I'll be like, their first appearance in my realm, in the book series, we will know it's in character mention. Then we have plot info and plot answers. So this is to remind me what information I put in. So when I go back, I can be like, okay, I said again the eye color is black and gold swirls in this chapter. I can't change it to silver in the later chapters. Again, the POV character development, what the reader learns, what the character learns, and then what questions are asked. Now these are potential questions that I think readers will have reading this chapter. So my goal is that whatever questions have been raised in this section, whatever questions have been raised, either they will be answered within the next chapter or in the next 3 chapters or the next POV chapter. But I'm not going to go 50,000. Like, say, so for instance, all these questions, for instance, in this first chapter for Fame, all these questions, they will need to be answered. Not in this one, because this is still one chapter for Fame, but they would need to be answered at least by chapter 10. That's when we see Fame again. So around this point here, around these 2 chapters, all these questions raised will need to be answered by then, if not before then. That is my goal. And then we have a brief summary. So, and these are my word counts that I've been doing. So this was my initial, when I started, I didn't have a word count for them, but I'm just tallying how much words I've added. So technically I'm on draft 2, even though I have not actually completed the book. I haven't written the end yet. Oh, you don't understand how excited I am to write the end. I just feel like I would have accomplished something great even though it's not going to be ready for me to share it properly. But those 2 words, 6 letters, I'm so proud that I get to write that. I have also started to correlate my chapter summaries. So let's see if I can show you them. Let's go here. I've been doing chapter summaries. So I have been figuring out as to who the POV is, the purpose of the chapter, how many scenes are in there, the skeleton for a scene or the skeleton for a sequel. Now I figured out, I might do a whole video on this at some point, but there are 2 types of scenes, 2 types of things that you need to figure out for your chapter, whether it's a scene or a sequel. So normally you have a scene, and right after a scene, you should have a sequel, okay? So in each of these, because it's a multi-POV chapter, I want to keep in mind what my character does. Are they reacting what happened before, what happened in someone else's POV chapter, or what happened in their POV chapter? So this is helping me keep up to date. And then I also have a high moment. So this is the best moment of the chapter. You can have multiple high moments in your chapter, but I feel like this having one like point that elevates, that has that spike on your chapter. Don't know if I'm making any sense, but it's a high moment. Okay, and then obviously for characters you need to have inner and outer conflict. That's internal struggle and external struggle. This is what we have. And then what new things has been learned, that's similar to what's in the Excel and what's in the sheets, but what new things has been learned. And then we have a quick summary. However, let me see, this template that I have here, because obviously I've already started writing certain chapters, I have put in my notes about what this chapter is about. I need to remember what happened so far, so the key things that has happened in previous chapters, what is happening now. So what key things are happening in these sequences, in these chapters, what are the plot developments, and what are the character developments. Now I use these questions when I get stuck. When I don't know why am I writing this chapter, what's going on, like, is it needed? Is this chapter actually needed? So I write this here for when I get stuck, when I'm at a loss of how to progress the story. Now, if I cannot answer all these questions, I will see if what I want to happen in this chapter can fit into another chapter, can go into someone else's perspective, because obviously we don't need the whole chapter, because I can't answer these questions. And that is how I'm working forward from now on. So I'm quickly just going to wrap this up. Where I am at as of October, what day is it? October 28th, where I am at is that part 1 is 2/3 complete, meaning 2/3 of my chapters have been written to the best of my ability. I don't think I need to add anything in. I don't need to think that I need to go back and revise anything. I feel like if I had critique partners at this stage, or beta readers or alpha readers that I need to go find now, I can share the 2/3 of part 1, okay? So currently we're at 79,523 words. And like I said, that's already a little short novel right there. Or I have added an additional 16,200 words. Now that is me revising some things, taking out some things, adding things in. So I feel like from this point on, I'm no longer going to be revising the work that I've done. I'm just going to be adding work in. Because revising comes after I've finished one draft. I haven't completed the draft yet. So we're going to stop that right now. And I feel like if once I finish part 1, it's probably going to be at 90,000 words. Again, and that's just us introducing the world, introducing the character. It's gonna be a big chunky book. And one thing about me, I love my books chunky. So that's where we're at. But again, this is still the first draft. Technically it's the first draft. If we want to be realistic, I keep revising the same part again, so it's probably like the 3rd draft, but things still need to get cut down, so it might be shorter, but right now I'm leaving it. We're not going to go back, okay? Now, although I didn't meet my goal, because I wanted to finish part 1 by the end of September, I didn't meet that goal. That's fine. It's okay, because at the end of the year I want to at least finish starting. So we got 2 months, got 60 odd days, and hopefully I can say I have finished all chapters, like written something in them, okay? By the end of this year. So that's what I'm going to focus on for the next 60 days. But the fact that I have now got my plan written out, I have made will Bibles for all the realms, for all my species, for all my magic systems. Instead of it living in my head or living in scraps of note, I have it all documented in digital format. I have it all, I have built up my encyclopedia of my will. So it's getting me really excited. So now when I'm writing, I feel that I can free write. In the sense that I can implement my will specific terms. I know which species has which powers. So when I'm writing, I don't need to explain it. Because what I have been doing, every time I have a new concept in my head, I'm writing and I'm explaining it in detail. And I feel like that distills the flow, the pacing of the book. So instead of me explaining what is happening in text in the book, I'll put the word in there, and then I'll go over to my encyclopedia and put a description. So then when I come back around doing my revisits, probably, what do you call that, the second draft or whatever? Well, when I come back around and I have to add in things and take away things, then I can add in the description, because that is what's halting me. Me doing research, me figuring out when I say he has lightning powers. I'm there explaining the lightning powers. And I spend 2 days figuring out how these lightning powers work. No. That is what's halted the progress of my work. So we're not doing that right now. That is all outside of the text. I do think it's better for me, for my sanity, for me to progress. Instead of me filming and not, I need to remember to upload what I film and post it regularly. So instead of me collating my updates for the end of the month wrap up, I might just come to you more regular with my update, and therefore you can go on this crazy journey with me, because I think I left some key elements out and I'm really upset with myself. There was a good amount of footage of me just doing my work and having epiphanies because my name is Tiffany, you know? But anyway, if you're going to be participating in NaNoWriMo, good luck to you guys. I've said I won't be. I'm not doing NaNoWriMo. I'm working to the end of the year. So I want to hit my goals to the end of the year, because I am not trying to write one whole book in a month. I'm trying to finish this book by the end of the year. So if you want more information from me, if you are intrigued to see if I can meet this goal, if I can achieve my goal and I gain focus and clarity, please do remember to like and subscribe, and I will keep you updated to the best of my abilities. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in.